Trapped Games. Or should I say, formerly Trapped Games. Thus far, I have done 20 episodes of Trapped Games, and in that time, some of the games I've covered are no longer trapped on their old systems, as they have received ports, or remakes, or remasters in some form. In fact, one episode I was working on Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Door, had its remake announced mid-production, so that episode will never see the light of day. Not that I'm complaining, because anytime a game becomes more readily available to people, I am very happy. But anyway, on to some no longer Trapped Games. Starting with the very first episode of Trapped Games, Final Fantasy Crisis Core for the PSP. In December of 2022, a remake was released for all modern platforms, titled Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, saving this game from being trapped on PSP, and in fact, I did a review of the remake, and you should totally check that out if you haven't seen it, after finishing this video anyway. The next game comes from the second episode of Trapped Games, Earthbound Beginnings, also known as Earthbound Zero in some circles, and this is easily the most comical case of this happening, because this video was published on a Tuesday, and it was either Wednesday or Thursday when Nintendo announced that this game would come to the Switch Online service. So this video was accurate about the game being trapped for all of 2 days at best. Made funnier by the fact I referred to it as the game Nintendo doesn't want you to play. Speaking of games that were saved from being trapped by Nintendo Switch Online, Episode 8 on the Game Boy version of Link's Awakening. Link's Awakening DX, that is to say the Game Boy Color Enhanced version, is available on Nintendo Switch Online. So for $20 a year, you can have access to Earthbound Zero and Link's Awakening, and a whole lot of other great games. I'm not usually a fan of subscription models in gaming, but $20 a year isn't too bad, and you get access to a bunch of Game Boy, original Nintendo, and Super Nintendo games. So, not really a bad deal, all things considered. The next item is from Episode 12 of Trapped Games, Metroid Prime Trilogy. And while Metroid Prime 2 and 3 are still trapped, the original Metroid Prime has been made available on the Switch, and it's not impossible that we might see 2 and 3 follow suit. But as it stands, 1/3 of the trilogy is no longer trapped. The last items on our list come from episodes 15 and 16 of Trapped Games. They are the 5 Game Boy megaman games. And while they haven't received their own Legacy collection, at least not yet, they are available on Nintendo Switch Online. And the 5 of these games coming to Nintendo Switch Online is actually what inspired me to make this video here. I would still like to see these made available on other platforms, but the fact that they are available anywhere is a wonderful thing. But I do want to be clear that I would prefer that every game on this list receive a physical version, as it's nice that several of the games that I talked about here are on the Nintendo Switch Online, but we know at some point the Switch Online is going to shut down, and these games will again be trapped. And I don't know what's going to become of these subscription things when the Switch Online shuts down. I assume they're going to disappear. I assume one day you're going to be trying to open up your NES games, or Super Nintendo games, or Game Boy games on your Switch, and it's going to give you a message like, nah, we're done supporting this. Just delete this from your system. It's no good to you anymore. And sure, that day might not be coming very soon, but it is coming. But I digress. Now, it just happens that I decided to do this after 20 episodes because there were several items that were no longer trapped. I thought about committing to doing this every 20 episodes of Trapped Games, but it occurs to me that just because there were a bunch of things that aren't trapped anymore, it doesn't mean the next 20 games will have as good a luck. And also, it's not impossible that other items that are still in that original 20 won't become untrapped at some point. So, you might see a video like this every so often, whenever there's been a few items that are simply no longer trapped games. Please do subscribe, comment, like, and tell your friends.